So if we look out here, most of this rounding of the landscape and the barrenness is really due to the predominance of non-native plants out here. Earlier on in the season, there were members of the mustard family, including wild radish, which were predominant. Then later on in the season, we have mustard, some of which is now finishing up its reproductive cycle with these yellow flowers and small pods right here. But they tend to dominate in years where there's a reasonable or even moderate amount of rainfall. And so it's difficult for the natives to move into this area. But slowly, over the years, we can see that shrubs of Artemisia californica, which is this plant here, are starting to move back into the disturbed area. So why is this area so disturbed? It's because for at least a century and a half, it's been used by modern Americans. Native Americans used this site back as far as 10 to 12,000 years, and there's evidence of it all over the place, although in a form that's not particularly recognizable. We'll see some more of those areas in a little bit, but here up on the top, the area was farmed, and then it was used for grazing, and then during World War II, the army took it over, and it was cleared, and a bunker was set up, which we'll see along the trail here. So basically, it's been over 50 years, and that this site has been on its way to recovery. And we've tried to enhance that by doing some experiments to re-establish the Artemisia and some of the other plants. Water buffalo, so-called, the natural reserve system has access to Army surplus supplies, so we leverage our position by obtaining Army surplus equipment, including this water tanker, which has been used to facilitate watering the restoration site on the edge of the cliff. Here's Artemisia californica. It doesn't look so great, but actually it's in bud. This plant is in the middle of its flowering season. What's really remarkable and also somewhat frustrating is when you're trying to collect seed of Artemisia, the different plants are flowering at different times, and so if you want to go out and collect seed, you have to go out that's representative of the entire population. You have to keep coming out here and collecting over a really long period of 2 months or so. So you can't just come out here and sort of round up the seed in a short period of time. So this path has been severely eroded in the last decade. You can see we're down to the harder Tory sandstone layer here. And just because of the compaction from people's feet, the water doesn't penetrate. It runs off the surface and erodes the sand. Here on the right, you can see is the bunker that was created by scraping material actually from just below to the west up into this long line of material on which there were some guns placed as a defense against the thought to be impending invasion of the Japanese in World War II. Here's a restoration site that's being taken care of by the student chapter of AEP, or Association of Environmental Professionals. Randy Stevens, their president, has been very involved in getting people out here and trying to maintain this site. It's really important not to lose the Artemisia here, because, as I was explaining, it's really important, in fact, critical habitat. We have the bluff edge where we have a lot of prevailing onshore sea breeze, which means that the plants are subjected to desiccation all the time. It's a desert climate, basically, with very low rainfall. And then we have the situation that people have trampled this site. So we've got it cordoned off. People have continued to step over the barricade and trample a path. This is not what I would consider a natural condition for this site. The barrenness is due entirely to human foot traffic, and it's something that we're really trying to dissuade. We have these horizontal pieces of telephone pole here to indicate the edge of the main trail, and people should stay behind it. But it's difficult to convey to people that they shouldn't go right to the edge of the cliff. We've used Artemisia californica to study restoration, and we combine different planting densities and soil treatments, and there are 10 plots out here that have been here for quite a long time, about a decade. Over here you can see that plants of about the same size are establishing themselves as a result of some drought years during which they gained superiority over invasive grasses and were able to expand the canopy cover of the Artemisia. This is really exciting because it means that recovery out here is possible.